Kakbhushundi was now going to begin the fifth canto of the Ramayana called Sundarkand. The focus here is on the glorious deeds of the great Bhakta Hanuman and the Sharanagati of Vibhishan. Sharanagati means seeking refuge in Bhagwan. It is the gateway to peace and bliss. Kakbhushundi arrived under the banyan tree, closed his eyes, mentally invoked Sri Ram, and then began the story. Hanuman was all fired up to go to Lanka and accomplish Sri Ram's work. Before departing, he bowed down to his whole party, because the blessings of elders and the good wishes of peers are of utmost importance when one is going to undertake an important mission. Then he climbed to the summit of Mahendra Hill. He began chanting Jai Shri Ram, and as he chanted, his body grew bigger and bigger, and his power enhanced visibly. So colossal did he become that the hill on which he was standing sank right down into the netherworld. Then Hanuman took off, swift as an arrow, flying at the speed of the mind. In the sea was a mountain, and the lord of that mountain was called Menak. When Menak saw Hanuman flying overhead, he raised the mountain above the surface of the sea and called out to Hanuman to rest for a bit because the journey was long. Hanuman came down, lightly touched the top of the mountain with his foot and continued flying. Kakbhushundi paused and asked his audience, "Why do you think Hanuman did not accept Menak's hospitality?" "Because he was in a hurry," honked the goose. "Because he feared that if he stopped, he would not be able to take off again," screeched a parrot. "Yes," nodded Kakbhushundi, "but the main reason was because rest was out of the question when an important task was at hand. Hanuman would not rest until he had accomplished Sri Ram's work." The Devtas were delighted that Hanuman had not succumbed to the temptation of resting. So they decided to test his physical strength and his intelligence, and they sent Surasa, the mother of all serpents, to challenge him. While Hanuman was flying, Surasa suddenly appeared before him with her mouth wide open and declared that she was going to eat him. Hanuman said that that was fine, but she would have to wait until he had finished Sri Ram's work. But Surasa did not trust him, so she became double her size and looked at him even more menacingly. Hanuman also expanded himself to an even bigger size, and in this way both of them kept expanding themselves until suddenly, most unexpectedly, Hanuman made himself tiny. He entered Surasa's mouth and then came out again, and by that he conveyed to her that he had given her an opportunity to eat him, and if she hadn't done so, it wasn't his fault. Surasa congratulated Hanuman and said that he had passed the test devised for him by the Devtas. She blessed him and she wished him all success on his mission. Surasa's episode, said Kakbhushundi, shows us how we should never waste time and energy on ego hassles. Hanuman did not mind becoming tiny if that would speed up the work he had at hand. Then, as he kept flying through the sky, he suddenly felt himself being pulled down, and he realized that this must be Simhika, a cruel and cunning Rakshasi who lived in the sea. She would pull down birds flying overhead by latching onto their shadows and tugging at those shadows. By dragging the shadow down, the bird also came down, and then Simhika would eat the bird. Hanuman let himself be pulled down to the tip of the water, and there in one go he killed Simhika. The birds in the audience fluttered their wings and rattled their tails in utter delight at the destruction of someone who preyed on helpless, hapless birds. Now, what does Simhika represent? Asked Kakbhushundi. Someone who harms others, said the docile dove. Yes, she symbolizes jealousy, someone who cannot bear to see others doing well and flying high. She must bring them down. And in this way, Hanuman crossed the sea and reached the territory of Lanka. The city was guarded by a massive fortress with golden ramparts. Hanuman waited until nightfall, and then he made himself as tiny as a mosquito, but retained his monkey form. And he thought he would be able to slip in unnoticed. But there was a very alert and vigilant guardian called Lankini, and she immediately challenged him. Hanuman gave one blow to Lankini with his left fist, and she went reeling, crashing to the ground while blood squirted from her mouth. With great difficulty, Lankini raised herself and then said something most amazing. She said that when Lord Brahma gave the kingdom of Lanka to Ravan, he had appointed her as the guardian deity of the kingdom. And when she had asked Lord Brahma how long she would have to be in that post, he had told her until the time a monkey arrived and hit her so hard that she would be knocked down. Then she was to understand that Ravan's time was up. Lankini was utterly delighted, and she compared Hanuman's blow to the power of satsang. She blessed Hanuman and told him to enter the city, all the while invoking Sri Ram in his heart. Kakbhushundi paused and said, "Why do you think Lankini equated her blow with the power of satsang?" The wise old owl had the answer. Because in satsang, all the false notions, wrong beliefs that we have are knocked out of our heads. He was speaking from personal experience. Hanuman set about exploring Lanka. He saw many splendid, magnificent palaces. And then he noticed one particularly attractive palace. In it was a temple to Sri Ram, and on the walls of that temple, the symbols of Sri Ram were engraved. Close by flourished the holy Tulsi plant. It was in the early hours of the morning, and Hanuman suddenly heard a voice say, "Ram, Ram." He was taken aback, because if somebody remembered Ram first thing in the morning, it was clear that they had gone to bed remembering Sri Ram. And he wanted to meet this person. And thus he got to meet Vibhishan. Vibhishan was amazed by the waves of love that welled up in his heart at the sight of Hanuman without even knowing who he was. Hanuman introduced himself as the messenger of Sri Ram and explained to Vibhishan why he had arrived in Lanka. Vibhishan told Hanuman where Sita Devi was being held. Without wasting a moment, Hanuman set off to meet Sita Devi. And what happened there, we shall see in the next episode. The birds bowed down to Kakbhushundi, and with great joy they flew off to perch for the night.